Don't answer the knock after midnight.
Okay, so I grew up in this tiny little town where everyone acts like they've got some secret pact. Like, there's this rule nobody writes down anywhere. You won't see it on a sign or a Facebook group, but everyone just knows it. It's not in the newspaper, not on some creepy brochure, nothing. It's like you have to be in to even hear about it. Grown-ups only talk about it in whispers, like saying it too loud might call something bad over. Kids get it folded into bedtime prayers. Teens make stupid jokes about it at bonfires, like that nervous trying to be cool laugh. But the jokes always die off because deep down, everyone's freaked out. And every parent, whether they've lived there forever or just moved in, will casually drop the same warning into conversation like they're telling you to lock your car. If someone knocks on your door after midnight, don't answer. That rule stuck to me like a tattoo you can't see, but always feel. I used to brag about it in college, acting like it was just my small-town superstition, like, LOL spooky country people. But the minute anyone asked me for details, my confidence would slip. Because the stories weren't like ghost stories. They were like witness statements. Like old Mr. Caldwell said he once heard scratching under his floorboards all night, like claws scraping rotten wood. My cousin Jackie swears her closet door opened on its own one night and a voice, almost her dad's but not quite, whispered her name from the dark. Even random girls I didn't know well said they'd seen tall, skinny silhouettes pacing just outside their bedroom windows, heads bent at this weird, broken angle. Every time I heard one of those stories, I'd get chills. Until last December. I'd been living alone for a few months in this cheap second-floor apartment. Nothing fancy. Tiny kitchen with cracked counters, bathroom pipes that moaned whenever you flushed, a closet way bigger than I needed. My nights were basically old paperbacks, binge-watching shows I'd already seen, and passing out early because the party life ship had sailed. The only noises were the low hum of the heater and my neighbor's TV through the wall. And then, one night, I woke up to this sharp knocking. Like 3 knocks, very deliberate. Not the, oops, wrong door kind. The hallway outside my place is all peeling paint and echoes, so it sounded huge. My alarm clock glowed 12:47 a.m. in red. My chest got super tight. First thought was, oh crap, drunk neighbor locked out. But the logical part of my brain just died. My hand hovered over the doorknob, and then that old rule smacked into my head. I whispered it out loud, like saying it would help. Don't answer. Silence. A couple seconds. Then, knock, knock, knock. Louder this time. I sat there, frozen, holding my breath. Then came a voice. Low, flat, weirdly dead. I know you're in there. Not angry, not begging, just like a machine reciting something it remembered. My throat locked up. I pressed my back to the headboard, every nerve screaming. Eventually, the knocking stopped. I stayed there, eyes shut, waiting for my pulse to slow down. Spoiler, it didn't. When the sun finally came up, I told myself it had to be a prank, some kid being a jerk. But when I peeked out into the hall, everything looked normal. Fresh snow outside, no footprints. Street lamps glowing in the haze. But my doorframe? Splintered. like something had slammed it way harder than any human should. No tracks, no mud, just the wood cracked where the knocks had been. My stomach went ice cold. The next day at work, I tried to play it cool. Everyone saw the dark circles under my eyes but didn't ask, and I didn't volunteer. I buried myself in spreadsheets, meetings, coffee refills, the usual. But every time a metal mug clinked on a saucer, my whole body flinched. I drove home with my thoughts on a loop. Double-locked the door like that was going to save me from whatever it was. But the voice wouldn't leave my head. It felt like it was waiting in the hallway, smiling behind my door. By night 2, the weather had gotten mean. The wind was howling down the street, rattling the windows, and branches were slapping against the glass like bony fingers. I shut off every light and curled up on the couch. My phone lay face down on the coffee table, glowing faintly. My neighbor's TV murmured through the drywall. Every creak of the floor, every hiss from the radiator sounded like a warning. It was 2:30 a.m. when my eyes finally started to close. I thought maybe I'd gotten lucky, maybe I'd sleep through it. And then, knock, knock, knock. My heart went nuclear. I actually started to stand up, like muscle memory wanted to open the door, but I stopped. The rule was screaming in my head. Don't answer. Don't. I pressed my ear to the door, palms sweaty. This time the voice was different, softer, pleading. Please, let me in. It's so cold out here. And it sounded exactly like my mom. Same tone, same breathy sigh at the end of a sentence. My mom who lives 2 states away. My mom who would never call me after midnight unless something was seriously wrong. My stomach dropped. I slid down to the floor back against the door. My hands were shaking. You're not her, I whispered. The voice didn't stop. It's so cold. I just want to. And then it faded into silence like a radio losing signal. I stayed there, pressed against the door until the first light of dawn came through the blinds, shivering under a blanket, my heart pounding like a war drum. The next day was a blur. I Googled every local legend, every crime report, everything about break-ins, stalkers, you name it. Nothing matched. I called my old college roommate Emma, told her I was losing my mind. She tried to be logical, soundproofing, better locks, maybe therapy. None of it helped. That evening, I went for a walk around the neighborhood, flashlight in hand, like maybe daylight would make me brave. I walked past the old pine grove where I carved my initials as a teenager. I sat on a stump and listened to the wind sighing in the branches. It didn't help. Even in sunlight, I felt watched. The shadows seemed too long, like they'd been stretched by someone pulling on them. That's when I found the tree with the fresh claw marks. Big ones. Long grooves carved deep into the bark of a lonely oak. I snapped some photos and sent them to Emma with a text. See? Like the sky itself was just waiting to drop on me. Storm clouds rolled in early and smothered the moon. Every board in my apartment creaked like it was tired of holding me up. I couldn't even pretend to relax. I just sat on the kitchen floor with a flashlight like some kid at a sleepover, waiting for something to jump out of the closet. At 12:15 a.m., the knocks started early. Knock, knock, knock. My palms were slick, my back glued to the fridge. The voice showed up without any buildup. Let me in. But it wasn't just one voice. It was the high soprano of some choir girl, the gravel of an old smoker, the echoes of people I'd loved who had died. For a split second, it even felt like me. calling myself home from somewhere I didn't remember. Then the knocks went berserk. The door shook in its frame like it was going to fly off the hinges. I curled up against the wall, whimpering. And then, silence. I forced myself to breathe. I edged toward the peephole because part of me needed to see. Bad idea. What I saw made my whole body go cold. There was something standing there that was wrong. It was so tall its shoulders scraped the top of the frame. Its arms were too long, hanging past its knees, fingers all bones and twitching. Its head was bent at a disgusting angle, like its neck could snap off any second. And then its face slid into view. It was me. My skin, but swollen and sagging in weird places. My eyes, but hollow black pits. My mouth moving, but no sound coming out. I stumbled back so hard my spine hit the wall. The knocking came back, violent this time. Crack, 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 like a battering ram. I clapped my hands over my ears and slid down to the floor. Then nothing. Dead quiet. I finally dared to peek again. The hallway was empty. I crawled under my bed and stayed there until the sun came up. Prayers I hadn't said since I was a kid. The morning after that nightmare, I shuffled out of my apartment looking like I'd been hit by a truck. Eyes swollen, hands trembling. I was halfway to the stairs when my neighbor, Mrs. Rayner, stopped me in the hall. She's ancient, hunched over like she's been carrying invisible bags for decades, hair in this tight little bun. Her eyes darted everywhere like she expected something to pop out. She grabbed my elbow with this grip that was way too strong for someone her size. "Did you hear it?" she asked, her voice trembling. I just nodded, couldn't even get a word out. "It calls once, maybe twice," she whispered, leaning in like she was giving me state secrets. "But if it wants you, it won't stop. Not unless..." She trailed off. Then she pulled this tiny cloth pouch from her pocket. Looked ancient. Yellowed fabric, crooked stitches. I could smell it right away. Something dry and earthy, like herbs and ashes. Rosemary? Cedar? Something else. She pressed it into my hand like it was burning her fingers. "Keep this by your door," she said. "And whatever you do, don't answer. No matter what voice it uses." And just like that, she walked away, her shoulders bent, like giving me that pouch had cost her some of her life force. I took it inside and set it right next to the deadbolt like it was a magic charm. That night, I sat up waiting, eyes glued to the door. But no knocks came. Not a sound. I actually fell asleep sitting up on the couch. My dreams were full of my double's grinning face, but the hallway stayed quiet. When daylight came, I went to grab my phone from next to the pouch, and it was gone. Not my phone, the pouch. Just the twine that had been tied around it, severed, perfectly clean, like it had been cut with a razor. The smell of herbs was gone too. Panic hit me like ice water. Did I dream the whole thing? Did something take it? I got down on my knees and scrubbed at the floor looking for crumbs. Anything. Nothing. No sign it had ever been there. That's when I realized. Nothing in my apartment was going to save me. No lock, no charm, no neighbor. Whatever this thing was, it was going to keep coming. And I had no idea why. That night, I sat there with my heart already racing, adrenaline making every sound louder. Midnight came and went. I thought maybe it wasn't showing up. And then, At 12:03 a.m., a single knock. My pulse thudded in my ears. I perched on the edge of my bed. Another knock. And just once more. Then silence. I didn't even breathe for 5 whole minutes, like moving would trigger something. Finally, I asked, "What do you want?" My voice sounded way too loud in the dark. No answer. I tried again. "What do you want?" A low hiss, like wind sliding through dead branches. Then, unmistakably, "To come home." My blood turned to ice. Those words felt like bait. "You're not me," I said, pressing my back against the door. A hollow laugh. The doorknob rattled. "Not yet," the voice promised. Suddenly, the door shook like something huge was slamming it. I fell backward over my coffee table. The walls vibrated. In a panic, I grabbed the first thing I could, a stupid umbrella, and hurled it at the door. It clattered uselessly. Then silence again. Hands shaking, I stumbled to the living room mirror. What I saw almost dropped me to the floor. My reflection was behind me, just standing there, not moving. Its mouth slit into a grin, eyes empty. My breath caught as it raised a hand and pressed its palm to the glass. Its mouth moved, but no sound came. Then, in my own rasping voice, close enough to feel hot on my ear, "Let me in." I spun around. Nothing. Empty apartment. I bolted, grabbed my coat and keys, and just ran out the door in socks. My chest burned as I sprinted down the street. I didn't stop until headlights splashed across me from a passing car. I pounded on the window and pointed back at my building, but the driver just sped up, gravel spitting under their tires. I ended up at a 24-hour diner 2 blocks away, shaking over black coffee and a half-eaten slice of cherry pie. I kept staring at my apartment building through the window, expecting my double to step into view. Nothing. Eventually, I just broke down crying. The waitress quietly left a sugar packet on the table and didn't say a word. Morning came creeping through the diner's blinds. I called work and made up a story about getting mugged, said my head hurt. I called Mom, too, lied and told her I slipped on ice. The adrenaline made the lies easy. Somewhere in my head, I thought, if people think I'm just clumsy, they'll leave me alone. That afternoon, I hit a hardware store and went full Home Alone. Chain lock, deadbolt kit, steel crossbar, reinforcement plates. Back home, I installed them with my hands shaking so bad I nearly stripped the screws. When it was over, I tested the door. Not a crack, not a rattle. I exhaled, half proud, half terrified. Like maybe this time I could actually outlast it. Night dropped early, like someone flipped a switch. Wind howled down the alley, knocking recycling bins over. I sat under my blanket, every sense cranked to max, replaying every mistake from the last 3 nights. I kept telling myself the new locks would hold. I kept telling myself I was ready. Exactly at midnight, the first knock came. So soft, I thought it was the heater sputtering. Knock. I gripped the arm of my chair, nails digging crescents into the fabric. Knock. This one was deeper. A low bass rolling through the steel door. Knock. My blood froze. Twice I'd survived. Tonight, I was going to speak. I crawled to the deadbolt and locked it again, even though it was already locked. Then, but trying to sound steady, I called out, "Who are you?" Silence. A pause so long it felt like it sucked the heat out of my bones. Then the answer came, cracked and warped like an old record. "I am you." My heart stopped. It wasn't just a ghost or a copy. It was a confession. A hunger. "Why?" I whispered. The voice hesitated like it was tasting the word. "To finish what you started." My mind spun. What had I started? Something I'd repressed? Buried? "Tell me," I said. Quiet. Then the voice came back in my mother's tones, trembling. "Remember the night you left me in the woods?" I gasped so hard it hurt. My eyes filled. 20 years ago, I'd been 6, playing in the snow behind my grandparents' cabin. I chased a rabbit into the trees. I remembered panic, darkness closing in, then the cabin door and my mother's arms. But I didn't remember leaving her. Not like that. I was 6. How could I whispered. "You locked me out," the voice said bitterly. "You watched me fall asleep on the bench by the trail, and you walked away. You left me to freeze." Something inside me cracked. Mom had told that story 1,000 times, how she blamed herself for losing me. But never once had it been about me abandoning her. The door rattled. The frame groaned like wet clay. Breathing outside was ragged, animal, the rhythm of someone who'd waited a lifetime. Trembling, I leaned into the peephole. I saw my mother's face, frozen in ice, lips blue, eyes wide with hurt. Her cheeks glistened with frost. Mist dripped from her chin. The wooden porch bulged under invisible weight. "Please," I whispered, tears running down my cheeks. "I'm sorry." Her eyes locked onto mine. For a second, time froze. Then her gaze sharpened. "You should have come back," she said. "Now I'm coming for you." A deafening crash shook the building. The door split down the center. I grabbed my coat and keys and bolted into the winter night. As I tore down the street, I swear I heard her voice again, soft, almost gentle. "This is how we'll be together again." I've been on the road ever since, living out of my car, always moving. I don't stay in one place longer than a night, maybe 2 if I'm dead tired. No more apartments, no more leases, no home. Just shitty motels, greasy diners, and rest stops that smell like burnt coffee and fear. I leave every morning before the sun fully rises, like if it catches me standing still, something will find me. I only sleep in short bursts. I eat whatever I can get through a drive-through window. I keep a baseball bat on the passenger seat and salt in my glove box, even though I have no clue if that actually helps. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear knocking. On the roof, the side window, the trunk. Just one knock, then another, then one more. Knock, knock, knock. I always keep driving. I don't look. And sometimes when I glance in the rearview mirror, I think I see someone sitting in the back seat. Just a shadow, too tall, neck at that same awful angle. But when I blink, it's gone. I don't know how much longer I can do this. My hands shake constantly. I haven't had real sleep in days. My skin shuddering itches like something's under it. I keep writing and deleting messages to my mom, like I could somehow undo everything if I just said the right words. But I know better now. Tonight, I'm at some rest stop off a highway I don't even remember getting on. The parking lot's empty except for me and a semi parked way down at the other end. Sky's full of stars, but they look fake, like someone printed them onto a movie set. I'm typing this out on my phone, hoping someone finds it if I disappear. Maybe someone can use this. Someone will believe me. Because it's still out there. It never stopped. If you hear knocking at midnight, don't answer. No matter how familiar the voice sounds, no matter what it says. And if you think you know who's at the door, you don't.